Chapter 20, training. When we talk about training, it means you want to improve the skills. You are training workers because you want to improve their skills, their knowledge, their know-how.
And you want to get used to the job.
Right? You want them to get better.
Yeah, better, and you want to get used to the job.
Getting used to the job. As how?
So they know what to do, I guess.
Training would improve their skills, their knowledge. So it makes them to become more efficient and more productive. So let's read anyway. The importance of training. It is unlikely that an employee would go through their working life without some form of training. Training is important and involves increasing the knowledge and skills of workers so that they can do their jobs more effectively. Training is important because it allows employees to acquire new skills, improve existing ones, perform better, increase productivity, and be better leaders. So, you can't go through your work life without being trained at one stage. Why do you have to be trained? Why do you have to be trained? You have to be trained because with training, things that you don't know, you get to know. With training, your skills can also be improved. With training, you become a better performer. With training, you can also become a better leader. So training improves your know-how. You become better than what you used to be. So it means if you really want to grow as an individual or as an employee, you need to be trained. You need to undergo different trainings. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes, clear.
It also helps to improve employees' motivation so productivity will be higher. When you are being trained by your employers, it means they value you. It means they see you in the future of the organization. Because training is expensive, you know. So if your employer is training you, it means they value you. It means they see you in the future of the organization. And that would motivate you, isn't it? Do you get it or not, please?
Yes.
However, training can be expensive and in some cases the cost discourages investment in training. This may result in lower productivity and loss of competitiveness. A lack of training might also endanger workers. Like I said, with training it's important, at the same time it's expensive. Because of how expensive it is, employers might be discouraged. They don't want to spend so much because it is part of the expenses for them. So they wouldn't want to invest in training workers. And most of the reasons why employers do not want to train employees is because they know that when they train employees become better. They add more value, and they become more attractive to your competitors, and they could leave. Because when you train them, they become more skilled. They improve their skills, their know-how, so they become attractive to your rivals. Your rivals might be willing to pay more for their engagement. And what can you do? Nothing. You can't cut off their head because the training is stick there. So most of the time, employers are adamant. They feel reluctant to train employees because when they train employees become attractive to their competitors. They might leave. As a result, they don't want to invest. Do you get the point I'm making here?
Yes.
But when workers are not trained, it could also endanger them. They might be taking risk. They might be working without knowing the right thing to do. Do you understand?
Yeah,
because if they are not trained on health and safety, then how are they going to be able to take care of themselves? So lack of training can endanger workers. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So this is about the importance of training. Any question about the importance of training? So we go to the types of training.
Because the job is new. You don't know what's going on in the job, and you want some training just to get used to the job.
Yeah. So you need to be trained.
Yeah.
So that you can get the job done effectively.
Yeah.
But the problem is that training is expensive.
Yeah, and you get used to it.
But the problem is that training is expensive.
Basically, you know what to do. What to do. Basically, you're not gonna stuck there and do nothing.
Sure. Those are the important.
Yeah.
So we go to induction.
Induction.
The first kind of training you undergo as a new employee.
Sure.
So induction training. Induction is a kind of training you undergo as a newly employed as a new employee. Induction is a training that exposes you, introduces you to the practices within the organization. Because you are new in the job, you don't know anything in the job. So they use induction to introduce you to the system.
Yeah.
Do you understand what induction is here?
No.
Induction training is a kind of is a training that introduces you, that gives you the clue about what is expected of you at the workplace. Yeah. So it is used to introduce the organization to you. So let's read anyway. You get to know more. When people start a new job, they are likely to receive some induction training. This helps new recruits settle in and become familiar with their new surroundings. If firms fail to provide adequate induction training, staff may feel anxious. This might lead to poor productivity. At worst, staff may leave because they have not settled. The nature of induction training will vary between businesses. So, induction. This is the kind of training you get when you are newly employed. Because it allows you to know more. It makes you to be familiar with the work environment. So if there's no adequate induction training, it might make you feel lost in between the organization. And as a result, you might feel discouraged and want to leave. Do you get it? Do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yes, I know.
So because you feel that you're not settled in, you might choose to leave the organization. So it is important for firms or employers to train workers with how the office or the practices on how to understand the work practice within the organization. Did you get it? So what are the types of induction training that could occur? 1, a complete tour of the workplace. Take them around, let them see the working environment. Introduction to job and direct work colleagues. Introduce them to the job and let them meet their colleagues, so they can start relationship with them, the work relationship. Introduction to senior staff. Let them know their superior officers, those that can mentor them, those that can put them through. Introduce them to them. Introduce new employees, introduce new recruits to the senior staff. Company history, aims and objective. Ensure that they have access to the history of the company, the objectives, the mission of the company. Let them know so that they are aware, so that they can also align themselves to what the objectives of the company is. Company policies such as dress code, disciplinary procedures, holidays. Let them know the do's and the don'ts of the organization. Give them the code of conduct. Let them know, let them read, so that they won't say they are ignorant of whatever is happening. Health and safety training. Train them on how to take care of themselves, so that they won't put their life into danger. Clear? These are all what we call induction training. Any question about that? No. Any question, please?
Yeah.
So we have other training methods, which are on-the-job training. Are you there? Are you there, please? Yes. So for on-the-job training, one of the most common methods of training is on-the-job training. This means that workers are trained in the workplace while they are doing their job. A number of different approaches might be used by a business. We call it on-the-job because workers are being trained at the work premises. They are working and at the same time, receiving training. That's what on-the-job is. Do you get on-the-job? Do you get it, please?
Yes.
Okay. So there are different approaches businesses use for their on-the-job. Number 1, watching another worker. On-job training by an existing member of staff is a common method. It involves a new recruit watching and copying the actions of an experienced and competent employee. This method can work well if the existing member of staff is a good and committed teacher. If not, the quality of training might be poor. One of the examples of on-the-job training is watching another worker. Yeah, you are newly recruited. You are a new employee. You might be assigned to a senior, an existing employee, an old employee with more experience. So you copy what he does. That is shadowing. So whatever he does or she does, you copy it, know it, and use it. But the problem about watching another worker is that if that employee that you are watching if that's your supervisor that you're watching, or if that individual you're watching is not a committed teacher, he or she doesn't like teaching people, then the quality of training will be poor because he won't be able to carry out the job. Do you get it or not?
Yeah.
2, mentoring. I told you this earlier, which means you look up to that individual, so he becomes your coach. He advises you. He tells you what to do. He tells you what not to do. That's mentorship or mentoring. Is it clear? Is it clear? So you are being appointed side by side with an experienced employee who you can always call to share knowledge with. Clear? Job rotation. For job rotation is it's one of the job satisfaction. So for job rotation, it means you are being moved from one department to another. So in as much as you are moving from one department to another, you'll be learning from each department. You are learning is on the job too. This on the job method means you learn from each department. So we have 5 departments in this office or company. You work in department A, you work in department B, department C, department D, department E. You work around all these departments. This gives you more knowledge about what's the happenings within the company. So these are opportunities. Is it clear? So one example is job rotation, which I just explained. So you go through different departments, and at the end of it, you're able to gather a lot of work experience. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of on-the-job training? Number 1, output is being produced. Because it is on the job, it means production would not stop. Do you get it or not?
Yes.
Because workers are still working and at the same time being trained. They will still be working. So that means the company would not stop producing because of those individuals that are being trained. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So nothing will stop, the job will continue. 2, relevant because trainees learn by actually doing the job. It is relevant because those that you, for example, are training, they are learning from the job. So they will be ready to kickstart their own career as soon as they are done with your training.
Yes.
Is it clear? The 3rd one, cheaper than other forms of training. With minimum wage, it's less simple, or it's less cheaper. It is cheaper because you don't have to spend on being trained by experts. It's a cheaper means of training because it happens when you use your workers. So you are using one of your workers to train your new employee. You might not pay the worker.
Yes.
So that makes it cheaper. Is it clear?
Clear.
Can be easy to organize. It can be easy to organize. So for easy to organize, it means you can do the coordination with or without him.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
I get it.
Then what are the problems? Number 1, output may be lost if workers make mistakes and through the time diverted to showing the new recruits how to do things. The first problem about on-the-job training is that as a worker, you might be diverting your time because you have to train the subordinates, which you may not like.
Yeah, you waste your time training the other employee.
And if the employee make mistakes in the course of doing something, you have to rework it. You have to start it again.
Exactly.
Do you get it? That's about that. The second one may be stressful for the worker, particularly if working with others.
Sure.
Do you get it? It is difficult because
Explain.
It is difficult because you have to go through training at the same time work in the same environment.
At the same
you might
time.
get tired, exhausted. Do you get it?
Exhausted.
Do you get it? Staff may get frustrated if they are unpaid trainers. So workers will not be happy if workers didn't receive their pay after training. Do you get it?
Yeah.
And could be a danger to others. For example, surgeon and train driver. So,
what?
If what?
What do you mean surgeon on a train driver?
Surgeon. Those that operate people in the theater.
I misread it. I thought it's surgeon on a train or something.
Is it clear now?
Yeah, I get it.
Any question about on-the-job training?
No.
So go to off-the-job.
Off-the-job training.
Yeah, please read.
Some employees receive training away from the normal work area. This is called the off-job training.
Continue.
For example, it might involve workers going to college once a week. Alternatively, it might involve a small group of managers traveling overseas to learn about a new management technique.
So we call it off-the-job training because you are being trained by specialists, you are being trained by firms outside the work environment. That is off-the-job. Clear? What are the advantages? Number one, output is not affected if mistakes are made. So if you make mistake because of training, it doesn't affect the output. It doesn't affect what will be, what the company would have produced. Unlike on the job, when you make mistake in on the job, it has to be done again because you are making mistake in the company. But off the job, whatever mistake you make during the training, it doesn't count as output. So nothing is lost. So learning cannot be distracted. Learning cannot be distracted by work. In on the job training, if I have to train you in the work premises, I have my job. I have my job to do. At the same time, I have to attend to you. Doing two things at the same time might come with a mistake. But for on the job, you are for off the job, you are free to choose the time you want to work, you want to concentrate, and the time you don't want to work and you don't want to concentrate.
Sure.
Is it clear? The third one. Some aspect of work cannot be taught off the job. There are some jobs you cannot train people out of the premises. They need to be trained in the premises. Maybe because of the intruder. Maybe there are machines that are equipment that will go in line with the field work. Not training centers will not have those equipment. So how are you training or how do you train them when they don't have access to equipment?
Yeah.
And for off the job, it is not just for you. They deal with other people, so they won't only take your request.
Sure.
Do you get it? It may take time to organize. It takes time because when you go there and you tell them you want an application, they might tell you that the next you want an appointment with them. They might tell you that the next appointment will be 3 days time or 4 days time, because other people use them too. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So it might take time before you have your coordination with the company, which is not good. Is it clear?
Yes.
Training in health and safety. Are you there? In many occupations, the workplace can be a dangerous environment because of the potential danger. Government aims to protect workers' legislation, the workers' legislation that forces businesses to provide a safe and healthy workplace. Some of these legislation addresses training in health and safety. For example, employees will need to learn about. So what you're saying is this: the work environment can be a dangerous place to be. So it is important for businesses to provide their employees safe and healthy workplace. Do you get it? It is difficult. If not, they would endanger themselves. They will endanger their lives. So the first thing is using and maintaining safety equipment and protective clothing, such as fire extinguishers, protective overalls, hard hats, hair plugs, and safety Google. So the point they're making is health and safety is important, because if there's health and safety, employees will be able to know how to use equipment, when they have to service the equipment, when not to service the equipment. So this is what training in health and safety will bring about. It changes the mindset of people. Is it clear? Is it clear, please? Is it clear, please?
Yes, yes.
The importance of hygienic environment. So it's also, with health and safety, you know if the environment is ideal for you to eat or not. Clear? The third one, the danger from hazardous substances such as acid, glues, acid and glues. So glues, you know glue.
Yeah, I know. But how is it? But how does?
You might mistakenly put it in your eyes.
Oh.
Yeah. You might mistakenly
press it. Who's dumb enough to do that?
Anything could happen. Mistakenly, anything could happen. So what they want you to know is that glue is not friendly. You should always stay away from it. That is the point there.
Okay.
Is it clear? The protection needed from violence, bullying, threats, and stress in the workplace. Is it clear?
Obviously.
Any question about that?
No. Many countries, legislation exists to protect people at work.
In many countries, legislation exists to protect people at work. We talked about it already.
This may require businesses to prepare a written statement or policy. Yeah, continue.
Okay. The benefits of training, are you there? The main reason for training is to provide workers with the skills and knowledge needed to do their jobs effectively. As a result, their productivity will increase. However, there are several other reasons. One, keeping workers up to date. With training, workers are now accustomed, are now fine-tuned with the latest in the industry, in the market. So here they said, workers will need training if there are changes that might affect their jobs. Some examples might include what? New health and safety procedures, new technology after a takeover, new working practices, new legislation. All this has to be new. All these have to be new. Do you understand?
Yes.
2, improving labor flexibility. So with training, you become flexible to do a lot of things because you've added more skills. But without training, you might be rigid. So whatever they give to you, you say no, you can't do it because you don't know how to do it. But with training, it provides you with flexibility to be able to deal with people, to be able to deal with situations. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Improving job satisfaction and motivation. Workers will feel more secure if they have been trained to do their job effectively. Not being able to do a job properly will be a source of anxiety. Frustration and dissatisfaction for workers. The company has invested in those workers, and to replace them would require more expense. This may make employees feel more secure. It is also argued that training can be used to motivate employees. So, job satisfaction and motivation. If workers are happy, they will do more. They wouldn't want to leave. That is the first part. The second part is the motivation. If workers are happy, they will be motivated. And if they are motivated, they will be able to be called. They will be able to do the job the right way.
Sure.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Do you get it? So that is motivation. The next one is new jobs in the business. Sometimes owing to expansion, new products or new technology, new jobs are created. This often means that some staff will need training. New jobs in the business. New job means the business is having new products or new service. And this will involve employing more workers, right? And the business might choose to employ you guys because you understand the job. What I'm saying is this. When the business is expanding, it means new workers are needed. Even if you are an existing worker, you might still need to be trained for the new job, for the new product or for the new service, on how to sell or how to sell or to know the product. Do you understand? So that's what they mean by new jobs in the business. You know what we're talking about here? We're talking about the benefits.
Yes.
of training. So with new jobs in training, do you understand? So if the business is expanding, or if the business is expanding, you need to employ more workers, yes or no? You might do that within the business. That means some people will be promoted.
Yeah.
Yes or no? Is it clear, please?
Clear.
So the last one, training for promotion. Sometimes, most of the time, when you are being trained, it means you want to be promoted. So whenever workers go for training, it is likely because they want to be promoted. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So that is what they're saying. So training is usually needed when workers are promoted. At each stage of the promotion process, staff will need to learn new skills and methods. This allows them to handle the different duties and new responsibilities. So promotion will come because training will come with promotion because they need they have new responsibilities. They have new duties. They have different duties than they used to have. So they need to know how to handle those situations. So that means they have to be trained.
Yeah.
Is it clear? So what are the problems about?
I have a headache.
Sorry. What are the problems about training? Number one, high cost of training courses and other resources. Training can be very expensive. Businesses will have to pay training providers if they use external training. That's off the job. Even internal training can be expensive if specialist training, staff, and equipment is needed. The first problem is the high cost of training.
Obviously.
Either off the job or on the job. You have to spend more. Yes.
You already mentioned.
2. Learning by doing. Some businesses might argue that training is limited because workers do not really start learning how to do the job until they arrive at their workstation. In some jobs, the actual work environment with all its stresses and distraction cannot be easily taught through simulation.
I know simulation.
Okay, good.
Like VR.
Okay, good.
Simulates a job or something.
Yeah, so you can't until you are in the field. You won't be able to do the job well.
Yeah.
So you don't start working until you are in the field.
Like
you get it?
Pilots, for example, they use a machine. Yeah, they use kind of a machine to replicate
a flying plane.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be the same. It's a replica, and it doesn't represent real life. That's what simulation is.
Sure.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
The third one, loss of output. If workers are involved in the off-the-job training, they will not be producing anything. This will result in lower output levels. Even if workers are trained on the job, there may be a loss of output owing to mistakes and slow work associated with learners. The time of those carrying out the training may need to be considered. If it takes them away from their normal duties and therefore has an effect on production. So, loss of output. Either off the job or on the job. Output is likely to be lost. Why? For on the job, you are newly trained. You might make mistake. And because you make mistake, or you might be slow. And because you are slow or you make mistake, the output will be less. And it will become lower, it will bring about lower output. And for off the job means you are not even at the work environment, you are not at the work premises. So you are being trained. That means instead of you to be working, you won't be working.
Yeah, it's very obvious.
Do you get it?
Yes.
And the last one, employees leaving. This is why businesses feel reluctance. Employees are likely to get very frustrated if employees leave and join a rival company after they have invested in training them. Some businesses actually target workers that have already been trained by others to avoid such costs.
Oh.
Do you get it?
So if the employees feel frustrated that their job sucks or something?
No, employers here.
Oh.
Employers become frustrated because as soon as they train you, you become attractive to their rivals. Their rivals will take you. So they are saying that most businesses wait until a rival company has trained its own employee, then they take it from the employer.
This is why I'm saying employees leave because they don't like the job or something. This is one of the reasons.
No, employees leaving means that after being trained by their employer, they become attractive to other employers. As a result, the money placed on them, the investment on training, the investment in training, or the investment or the expenses of that company that trained them becomes a waste because they become attractive to other competitors. They leave your job after being trained.
So basically, the employees leave because
they are now trained and they become attractive to other employers.
From the rival company.
Yes, company A trained you. Now you have more skills. Company B would want to woo you, would want to take you, because you become an added value to them. I can't stop you from going.
So basically, I train from that company, right? And after I got experience, I go to another rival company.
Yes.
That's the thing.
That's it. So employers feel reluctant to train employees because when they do train them, they leave for rival companies.
They leave they can go to another rival company. So
to earn more.
Yeah, to earn more, and since they have the experience.
Because they have the skills.
Yeah.
So most businesses, they wait for employees that are being trained then to take them. So they wouldn't be the one to train you. They wait until you are being trained by their competitors and they negotiate a bigger salary with you. That makes them to avoid the training cost.
How that's a bigger question. How a rival company knows that I training?
You have been trained.
Yeah.
They would know. You would want a new job. They will create opening. You would want a new job. You would want a pay rise. You could be the one searching, and they will attract you with better salary.
Okay, I understand.
So we move on. So we have the multiple choice question now.
Okay, that's the employees leaving.
Yeah, is it clear now?
Clear.
So we go to the multiple choice question for chapter 20, training. The first question, please.
Okay. Which of the following is a benefit of on-the-job training?
On-the-job training, yes.
So we have A. Training can take place outside of work hours. B. Simulations can be used. C. It is cheaper than most other type of training. D. Trainees will not be distracted by the work itself. Well, mister, it's C, actually. It is cheaper than most other types of training.
Yes. Training can take place outside of work hours. That is off the job.
Yeah, it is cheaper.
Simulation can be used. That is...
Yeah, that's for off the job benefit.
Yeah. Trainees will not be distracted by the work itself. That is still off the job. Off the job.
Disadvantage.
Will not be distracted by the work itself. Trainees.
Oh yeah, advantage.
Advantage of the job.
The job. Yeah.
So the answer is C. Question 1 is C. Question 2.
Question 2. Which of the following is an example of on-the-job training? You have monitoring.
Which one of the following is an example of on-the-job training? Mentoring, simulation, correspondence course, job analysis. Mentoring, great.
Mentor, you give advice to an employee to make the job better, to enhance their job.
Yes. Question 3. So it's question 2 is A. Question 3.
Yeah. Number 3. Which of the following is a benefit of training?
Benefit of training, yeah.
Well, it is cheaper. Workers always enjoy training. Workers' skills can be updated. Business cash flow improved.
The benefit of training.
C.
Workers' skills can be updated. Great.
Yes. They update obviously because of training.
Good. Question 4.
Number 4. An induction course may be used in which situation? A trained worker in a new skills, provide workers with a new qualification. What do you mean what do you mean new qualification?
New qualification means you have new certificates.
Ah. Okay, this is very
new this
profile. This is very wrong. Obviously, deal with certificate. It's before you get even a job. Like so obvious. Deal with an employee grievance.
Grievance.
What's grievance?
Anger. Unsatisfaction. Employees frustration.
Okay, okay, that's a weird to start. Introduce works to companies, policies, and regulations. Of course, introduce works to company policies and regulations.
That is induction.
Now, I want to explain. Training workers in new skills. First, it's wrong. Trained workers already got skills. Like they're gonna get another new skill, so it's very wrong.
That is what training does.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not induction.
It's not induction. It's already training.
Induction, off the job, on the job will give workers new skills.
Yeah, it's already training. It's not induction. It's not introduction. B is very wrong. It's not. It's not even. It's not even a job.
Qualification comes with education.
Yeah, it's even before you even get the job.
That because when you talk about qualification, it's about certification.
Yeah, you need to get that before even getting a job.
Okay.
C deals with
employees grievance. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. This is not even training.
Yeah, grievance is employees' frustration.
Yeah.
What makes employees to be unhappy? So what does that need to do with induction?
Unless this is manager induction course or something. But,
all right, is it clear? So that ends it.
It's very understandable.
Sure.